Hey everybody out there. Um, this is Enoch J. Talking to you about many topics in the world. Um, Talking to you about many different topics around the world, like what's going on in the world. Let's about what's happening around the world. Um, so one thing I wanted to get into was the thing about the black race. Um, sorry, I look so shabby. I'm sitting in my PJs. But one thing I want to get into is about the blacks in America, the blacks in the United States of America. Um, I don't think that blacks in America they really actually know what they're doing, but I think that most of the time maybe there's a lot of people or it could be maybe a lot of people that's black doesn't think that somebody black can go to someone else that's black and learn. They can. They can. So sorry about so. But the thing is that to get back on this situation is that the topic that I wanted to the topic that I want to talk about was about blacks in America. So let's get back on it. So but don't worry, it's my first time podcasting. But here it is for me. The black race is such a beautiful and cool race. They have beautiful women. They're very pretty people. Now, the, if you look at the black race today, you would say, "Wow, she's really cute. She's really pretty." The black people are really beautiful. They're really pretty, and they and it's not that I'm gonna say this. It's not that I believe that the black race is not welcome like black and white, because of the events that happened a good while back. Is I don't what I'm trying to say is that I don't think that the black race really understands what's going on in the world, because if listen to me what I think about my topic on this. And I may be a little there may be more it may forget about it. But the thing is what I'm trying to say is that I don't think I don't think that the black race really actually fully knows what's what's going on. And I don't think they really fully actually know what's going on. But here's the thing for me about it. When when you're living in America, when you're in America, it's not about the devil, it's about God. Because if you had any if it's like this, you come all this way from the other side of the world to get to America. and and you come all this way on the other side of America. I mean, not America, let me start over. But it's like this, you come all the way from the other side of the world, where you're being born toward this world, into this world. And then you finally get you finally get close to America and you're rock climbing, you're scaling, and the eagle and wings of eagle or eagle comes out of nowhere and picks you up on picks you up by your shoulders and carries you to solid rock, and that's what that means to be on the wings of eagle, and then that eagle lands you on solid rock. That's what America says, and that's what happens. That's what perfectly happens when the eagle does those things, right? But after that, your journey now be after the eagle has done that, your journey now begin after the eagle has landed you on solid rock in this country on solid rock. Your journey begins, and your journey begins in this country. So when you get to this country, you got a whole nother journey. So don't mean to make anybody tired that's coming up, hearing this, hearing my voice travel just like the church does. But it's when you start your journey in America, when you finally get to this country, you learn about God. You learn about God to where it's in the standpoint of America. Right. So you learn everything you learn everything you need to know about God and and about living in America with God. Right. So me and you both now so me and you both now knows that kickback is to give you that kick. Don't confuse it with cigarettes. Don't confuse it with cigarettes. Kickback gives you that. Kickback is Social Security and SSI. If you have to be on that, right? And some people has to. God wants some people. God wants some people to keep going even worse than the rest of us. Sometimes it may take when you're when you're right there when you're right there when you're right there and you're on that highway. You're on Highway 66. You're on Highway 66, and sometimes you you may not have no shoes. You may not have any pants. I mean, you may be naked. You may just have a hat. You may just have a hat, just trying to, not trying, but finishing. And you come to understand what kickback is. As I would, you come to understand what kickback is what I was stating earlier about kickback. You come to understand what kickback is, and because you're in America, right? So God's like it's God's like, I want you to finish. I want you to finish. What not? I want you to finish. You got a little worse to go than the rest of them. Okay, God's like, I want you to finish a little later. Yeah, I want you to finish a little slower. I need you to finish. I need you to do a little more. I need you to finish a little later, a little more, or more than the normal. We have to finish. So you would have so I do sorry about that, but in a way, you in a situation like that, you come to understand what kickback is when you're talking about America and you're talking about kickback. You come to understand what kickback is. Kickback is SSI, and the reason for kickback, it gives you enough kick to continue serving God while you're living on this earth to get where you need to go. Because poverty is not a destination period for God, right? A hood is not a destination period for God. None of that. The only destination that the only destination that you're headed to is paradise and wealth and riches. That's the destination you're going to with God, and that's what America stands for. And America doesn't stand for the slums. America is not saying that you're going to be in the hood. America's not saying you're gonna be a bum. America's not saying you're gonna be. America's not saying you're gonna be poor. America's not saying you're just gonna be homeless. America isn't saying that. America's not saying those things. So the main thing is that the main thing is that the main thing is that when you receive kickback, it gives you enough kick, boom, kicks you, boom, it gives you enough kick to keep going to serving God while you're having to live in America. And don't get me wrong, some people are raising families, and I understand that as well. So don't get me wrong. I know families exist and children exist, but this is the main thing that you have to go through first. One of the main things you have to go through. I I think it's let's just say this is one of the main things I know you're gonna have to go through. So don't worry about main things, but that's one of the main things you're gonna have to go through. Um, so that's the way it is in America with kickback. So, but let me get back. Let me get back going toward it, talking about the blacks. Right. I'm trying to talk so loud because I'm outside. But let's get back into it when we're talking about the blacks. Here's what I feel about it. Uh, here's what I feel about it, and that and the blacks. I don't. The blacks are real good. They're good. They're good people. But what human beings have to understand is that without God, and I know most people do know, but what human beings have to understand is that without God, especially living in America, without God, you're not gonna make it. And then if you make it with God and you didn't finish the rest of the Bible, starting at Revelations, you're gonna be making some errors somewhere in the life when it comes to if you become a judge, if you become a doctor, preacher, the president, if when those guys take those roles, and I can become one too, but when people take those big roles, they get there, they become judges, doctors, lawyers, teachers, the president of the United States, and they become powerful people. A lot of people stops at the book of Revelations. They stop at the book of Revelations, and doing so, stopping at the book of Revelations and doing so is that when you do that, you're not gonna know fully fully what to do when you're right there becoming all those things like judges, doctors, teachers, the president. Because the thing is, if you don't fully study the Bible, if you don't fully study the Bible, if you don't fully study the Bible, when you become president, you become a judge, you're not gonna know how to judge that person when it comes to that situation where you just somehow didn't complete in studying. And and guys, let me tell you, guys, let me tell you, you need to keep the Bible there and go to the workshop in the garage and build a shelf. You also need to keep do, doing that with the Bible and keep touching up your craft with God and touching up your works, your building, your workers in in real life every day. So let me tell you, and and what people does is that they they somehow will not finish studying the word. So what that means is that they're going to graduate from high school, college. They're going to do those types of things. But when it comes down to them, they get to the point where they have to be something like the president or a lawyer. They're going to have to be, when it comes down to it, when it comes down to it, when when they graduate, they have to be the president or Congress. When they have to do that, you're gonna make errors in making those decisions for America, because because what a lot of people do, they don't finish the scriptures. And when you don't finish the scriptures, you read all of it and stopped at some point at Revelations, or maybe but at Revelations, but it is also possible that you stop somewhere else in there. And once that happens, you become a president. You become you become the president. You got to be making errors, right? So when it comes down to being black, I don't think they don't know what they're doing. I don't think I don't think they know what they're doing, because if let me tell you, if because if we were with God, we would not have to be in so much disarray. But I wouldn't blame that on God, us being here. No, that's not the problem. The thing is survival, getting back with God. That's the idea, right? Yeah, that's the idea. So when you look at black when you look at blacks, you totally understand that they were not with God, and they were doing something other than believing in Jesus Christ. They probably was doing witchcraft or praying to something or doing some tribal dance. Here's my thoughts on that. When when you have blacks, you have this what hap- what happened to the blacks? They didn't have Christ, and no human race on earth can survive without Christ. So when people try to live on this earth without Christ nowadays, it's impossible. And in my thoughts on that, guys, is that they didn't have Christ. They they really wasn't ever going to be with Christ, right? But I believe in this beautiful country, in this powerful country that has a lot of history with slavery from the blacks. It's so beautiful. It's so cool. I think this. Here's what I'm trying to say is that for me, when I think about the blacks, I don't think they was gonna ever believe in God. I don't think they was ever gonna want to believe in Christ. I don't think it's not where they were, right? It's not where they were, but it, it's not where they were. And also, I don't think they was ever probably gonna ever believe, you know. So that's the main thing for me, right? And there's a car coming down the street. But the thing for me, these are my thoughts. I don't I don't think that the blacks was ever gonna be with God or come to know Christ or come to know God. When we have a human race in the world that does not want to be with God, that will not that will not rejoin back with God, it's gonna be a hard life until that race get back with God. And the black race, they're so beautiful, they're so cool, they're so cool, they're so beautiful. I mean, it's crazy that they're very beautiful. They're really beautiful. They're very beautiful. The women are very beautiful. They're really beautiful, and they're cool. They're really really nice people. And I'm not talking about rap, right? Forget rap. But and they're really nice. Do you really think that slavery will happen to these guys? No, they didn't have Christ. Those are my thoughts. And once because once you have a human race on this earth, that doesn't that hasn't really studied about who God is or what God is or who Christ is. This is what happens. This is what happens, and this is what happens. This is the way it needs has to be. To if somebody would have looked at slavery from back in the day, and they they would have gave their thoughts. They would have gave their thought. They would have gave their thought. They would have gave their thoughts about blacks. Somebody else would have said maybe another way. There's no maybe somebody would say there's another reason why they slaves. But for me, it's what it is. The real reason, God in us, right? And to be honest, I have to say is that what I want to say. The blacks was offered a second chance, and the blacks did it, right? So for me, I would be if for me, if I was a pastor, I'd be I'd be in the church like, okay, we don't need that going on, so we got to make sure you guys understand and to keep this way, just like every other race. So you got so to me, they I don't think blacks really are on that level. How I explained it, I don't think I know they know what they're doing, and I know they're smart, and I know they may invent almost a lot of cool. They invented a lot of things, and they got free, and they're cool. Their music, they got everything. But the real situation is God, and if a human race is not number one at that, it'll get hurt. It can be hurt. It can get hurt. Right. So the main thing is that the main thing is for me is that the real thing. No human race can survive without God. None. And once you're like the blacks, you're gonna go through what the blacks had to go through. Now this is not gonna this is not gonna happen in God's chosen people again. They already did that for us, right? They already suffered for us. This is for us now, right? This is for us to know now. So that's the main thing about it. And so it may seem like something else. If it's possible, it could seem like something else to someone else, maybe in another way. Not bad, but in maybe not the way I was thinking, but maybe in another way. But that's the thing about me, because when it comes to back in the day, back in the 90s, when it comes to blacks at work and at very important jobs, they wouldn't want to cut their hair. I was looking at this show that was on TV back in the 90s, and a situation came where the guy didn't want to cut his hair to get the deal, and to get the contract made, to get the deal, to get the contract signed, to get the deal, because the job you had to look and be a certain way to get that job done. So so the black guy took it the wrong way. What I'm trying to say is that what I'm trying to say is that we used to all taught we used to all talk the same language, but not anymore. Not anymore. We don't talk the same language. We don't speak the same language anymore. We used to. We don't no more. So the everybody black, you have to bear with us. You have to bear with us that we don't speak the same language anymore. We can't speak the same language anymore because of God and the Tower of Babel. We can't speak the same language anymore. It's impossible. So if so everybody black, we have to you have to bear with us. You have to bear with every race. You have to be you have to bear with every race in the world. And you have to bear with this because we don't speak the same language anymore. It's very hard to understand each other nowadays because of the Tower of Babel. And and so when you have blacks going to work back on. So when you have blacks going to work on TV back in the day, it was a situation about cutting hair. It was a situation about cutting hair. It was a situation about being a lawyer. It was situations like that. And let me tell you this, guys. Let me tell you this, blacks. For me, these are my thoughts. It does not seem real, but we have to know what we have to know by God, and then we go to work and go to the court, and then we fight. Right? If we're out of bounds without God, we've got nowhere, and no one could do anything for us. Right? No one could do anything for us. No one. No one could. If we're not with God, we will be out of bounds in what we need done, and no one can help us. So we so the thing is, all blacks. The thing is, all blacks is that if you have white people, Latina, Irish, whites, Russian, whatever, Japanese, all those guys, not black, all those guys, if they was not with God, there would be the same thing would happen to them. What happened to the blacks, right? So so everybody's black. You have to understand. Without God, no one can help us. So we have to go to work. We have to go to work with God. We have to go to work with God, and also understand while we're at work, we have to be with God because we don't speak the same language anymore. We don't speak the same language anymore. The human rate, the human races of the world, we don't speak the same language anymore. So we have to be we have to be with God. Sorry for confusing you, but see, I'm getting a little confused. I'll jump off, but mainly these are these are the these are the problems that the I see for myself that the blacks have is that they try to trick. They don't. They're not trying to. They're not trying to tread this world without God. They're not trying to live without God, but they don't know what they're doing. You ask me, but I think it's a little slow, but that's about it because they score. They got an A plus and higher. They got extra credit and everything else, and with God, but they do have to understand the way things work. Nothing works without God. Period. And the and once and that's all and to me that's all the blacks need. They have everything else except they need that wisdom of race wisdom. They need that wisdom of race that without God as a wisdom of race, it's not gonna work out for you. Right. It's not gonna happen for you. So I'm getting a little confused. I'm turning it into noodles. I'm gonna let you guys go. And guys, please bear with me and listen to my next live podcast. And I will continue to show these podcasts all the time. Now, I'm not a professional podcaster. These are my gaming headsets. It's my old Georgia hat because my journey is still here and I'm doing great. So, so hit me back and get back with me. Well, I'm going to get to continue the rest of the day and take a 2 hour drive back home tomorrow, like every other time. Please, guys, I'm going to get right back at you tomorrow on the rest of my thoughts. If I have anything left to say. And the only thing I have to say is the word because those are my expertise on my thoughts. And these are my thoughts. But the word isn't thoughts, but these But everybody, these are my thoughts. These are my thoughts on how I view the beautiful black race, the cool black race. And these are my thoughts. Real under everybody have real understanding only, please. Because that's the only way. And God bless God, and God bless God's chosen people for freeing us and giving us a chance to make it in this world of what they if what it's what God chosen people fought for. Didn't mean to say chosen people. I don't know, open too much, but still it is. We did it. We did it. We made it. So, all right, guys. Uh, see you guys later. See you next time. It's Enoch. It's comic. And my real name. This is Enoch JJ. I'm out. All right. All right, guys. I see the end stream button, and I'm out. See you tomorrow. Shout out to America, America Purpose. Shout out to the Black race. Shout out to the whole gigantic America. I see the end stream button, and I'm out. All right. Sorry about that.